So let's go straight into the matters. At the Accra High Court has granted a bail of 15 million cedis with two sureties to the former Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund CEO Solomon Asamoah. He has pleaded not guilty to causing financial loss to the state, dissipation of public funds, and conspiracy to commit crime. Solomon Asamoah was charged together with former board chair of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Professor Christopher Ameyaw-Ekumfi, over the misappropriation of some $2 million meant for the construction of a Sky Train system in Accra, which was never built. Well, Denis Wedam Pwaberi has been getting into this latest development as we speak right now. He's joining us in the studio. Denis, good to have you. Now, let's get into the background of this whole Sky Train saga and how the matters have traveled to this point.
Well, so Alfred, you would recall that somewhere last week, was the last 2 weeks, that Attorney General had mentioned that he was actually officially going to charge persons who were involved in this Sky Train matter. He did indicate that the former board chair of the GIF, together with the former chief executive officer, were going to be officially charged. And this has been a long-running matter. There's been conversations that, yes, Ghana had gone into an agreement to build the Sky Train. We recall that promise that was made, pictures flying all over, and how it was going to transform our transport sector, especially in the face of growing traffic in the urban areas, especially in Accra. That was advertised. It never came to light. We got to realize that some monies were paid, and that was the end of it. This government, on coming into power, said they were going to look into the space and see who had done what wrong, for which reason that money was used and we didn't get the results that we were looking for. So yes, that put together is what we have now on the charge sheet. 2 people are standing accused for this particular event. Now they have to answer questions in respect of some 6 counts of conspiracy to, 6 counts of willful causing financial loss to the state, and in its varied forms. So basically, that's what it is. We understand that they were put before the court a while ago for their plea to be taken. We understand they pleaded not guilty in that respect. Bail had been considered. But Alfred, yes, before we even go into the specific charges that have been leveled against them, it's instructive for us to look at the summary of facts that usually would accompany the charge sheet.
Absolutely.
That gives you a sense of what the matters really are and on what basis these charges have been preferred against the persons.
Sure.
So they try to let us understand what this, even the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund itself is and what it sought to do. This was established in 2018, and yes, that was supposed to be the vehicle through which government was going to make instructive investments into infrastructural matters. So essentially, all the monies that came from our VAT, some from grants and donations and other voluntary contributions were going to be, or as it still stands, GIF is still running, yes, but that basically is the source of money for that. So somewhere in 2018, at the Ministry of Railway Development, they initiated a program, and that program was to promote and facilitate commercially viable mass urban transport infrastructure projects in the country. So this project was to be implemented by, now they just wanted to give that concessionary right to a private sector to develop and operate urban transport services. And that was where the whole thing started. Now, in that regard, the ministry, and I'm talking about the Railways Development Ministry, they signed a memorandum of understanding with a company called African Investment Holdings Limited. This was a limited liability company which was incorporated in South Africa. Now, pay attention to this. They signed an MOU with Africa Investor Holdings Limited. This was a company incorporated in South Africa. Now, the project basically was to be called the Accra Sky Train. The project was to be constructed on a design, build, finance, and operate basis. In this MOU, GIF was to be the anchor equity investor and the local development partner to the said company, that's Africa Investor Holder Limited. Now, what it basically means is that when it comes to what was going to be happening in Ghana with regards to feasibility studies and all that, it was GIF that was in charge of that. It was also agreed as part of this MOU that GIF, yes, would conduct due diligence. That GIF would conduct due diligence. I'm saying that for emphasis because as we go along, it will be one of the bases for which these persons are being charged because they are alleged to have failed to do this due diligence. And also to undertake or develop a bankable feasibility study on the project. Now let's move forward to January 2019. Now there was also another shareholders agreement that was signed between Africa Investor Holdings Limited. Now this time, even though it has the same name as the first company, this was a company that was incorporated in the Seychelles with a different registration number. Now this shareholders agreement was between that Africa Investor Holdings Limited and then GIF on the other side. Now the content...
So this Africa Investment Holdings Limited was the special purpose vehicle, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So now, in this shareholders agreement, the agreement was that this Africa Holdings Limited was to transfer some 10% of some shares. Now, in this statement, they say alleged shares, but some 100% shares, it said it had in another company called AI Sky Train Consortium Holding. They say they have 100% shares in another company called AI Sky Train Consortium Holding. And they agreed with GIF that they were going to transfer the 10% of the shares they have in that company to GIF. So the first accused person. Now, first accused person in this instance refers to Solomon Asamoah, who was the then chief executive officer of GIF.
Right.
So Solomon Asamoah signed that agreement to the effect that, yes, the transfers be made. So in essence, if they transfer shares to you and you want to own them, you have to pay.
True.
So that was where we began to part money, at least according to what we have by way of the facts presented.
I see. You know, very interesting development as we have it. This, and if you're just joining us, this is my colleague Dennis, just running through the compendium of events that have actually now culminated into this charge sheet that the Attorney General presented today earlier in court, charging the former CEO of GIF, Solomon Asamoah, and the board chair, Professor Christopher Ameyaw-Ekumfi, over the misappropriation of some $2 million meant for the construction of the Sky Train system in Accra, which was never built. Laud Adu Asare is our legal affairs correspondent. He was in court today. Lord, first of all, tell us exactly what the Deputy Attorney General who was in court today told you after the court sitting today.
Well, Alfred, so basically the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Stremsai, he's been saying that the primary focus or objective of oral is to effectively recover all the funds that the various accused persons, not only in this matter of Solomon Asamoah and then Professor Ameyaw-Ekumfi, all the other accused persons in the various cases that they are put before the court, that they are open to them recovering the funds. So he says that if they bring the money, it's something that they are very much welcome to. But let's head back to court, because when the case was called, Professor Ameyaw-Ekumfi himself, he's the second accused person, he failed to show up in court, and then his lawyer told the court that he had a medical emergency. As a matter of fact, he told the court that he's actually on admission at the University of Ghana Medical Center, and that was why he did not come to court. And then Dr. Stremsai actually corroborated what he said. He indicated that indeed he had been made aware of the predicament of the former board chair of GIIF, because prior to yesterday or today, when they got to learn of the update, he had been cooperating with investigators who were on this matter, and so it is not really news to them. He knows that he's been very cooperative in the matter, and so it was the reason why it was only the ex-CEO of GIF, Solomon Asamoah, whose plea was taken today. He pleaded not guilty to all the charges that were proffered against him. That has to do with causing financial loss to the state, conspiracy to commit crime, and then one other charge as well. Pleaded not guilty to all of them.
Right.
So that's basically what happened in court today.
Okay.
Alfred.
Let's hear from Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Adam Semsai when he was speaking to you, journalist, outside of the court today.
I've lost so much money through some of these decisions that public officials, some political, some civil, have made in this country. The primary objective of the ORA is to recover the money. We are open, and we cannot be tired of saying that we are open for anyone who, like any people of Ghana, the rest as to whether the company exists, whether there is any investment actually made, whether the money went to some people's pockets, whatever happened, the rest we would present them in court for the judge to decide, unless we are accused of, trying to try the accused persons in the media.
Depending from me, your boss seems to be one who likes the idea of backing $2 million. If you're able to raise that money, is it okay for the state?
Look, let's be frank here. Our policy of recover the loot is simply primary. I mean, the first objective is to get the money. Because this country, as we know, has lost so much money through some of these decisions that public officials, some political, some civil, have made in this country. The primary objective of the ORA is to recover the money. We are open, and we cannot be tired of saying that we are open for anyone any of the accused persons or suspects in the other cases who think that they have the money, who could return the money. We will be happy to have these monies to be used to solve some of the problems that we have in this country. Healthcare problems, transportation problems, salary problems, so many other problems that we have, sanitation problems. President John Mahama is interested in solving those problems, and we need money to solve them. So again, let me repeat that we will be happy to take any money that anyone has. And of course, the law allows us to have plea bargaining, which means that based on certain conditions and circumstances, we could vary the case that we put before the court or the consequence of the crimes that we are alleging in court. So once we do that, and let me tell you, a number of people have approached us with offers, some including money being returned. And we have agreed with some of them, and some of them have agreed to be witnesses for us against some of the accused persons. So I think we are on track when it comes to the recovery. There's no better way of recovering the money than voluntary recovery. So if the people are willing to give us, we will take it. But that is not to say that you can keep the money and then serve jail terms and go for it, because there is an active process. The Attorney General has instituted an active process of recovery, tracing these monies. So I would say that whether you do it voluntarily or not, we will do whatever it takes in the name of the Republic of Ghana to retrieve every pesewa that we can from private hands and restore those monies to the people of Ghana and to the taxpayers of this country.
I think for the purposes of
Ghana citizens, it should be justified by two sureties. The property for justification should be landed property located within the Greater Accra region. So these were the conditions.
So we noticed that Prof. Ameyaw-Ekumfi, the second accused person, was absent. So
yes, so I think on Friday we were informed that he was indisposed and had been taken to the hospital. He was supposed to report on Monday. He was discharged, but this morning we were again informed that he was indisposed again and had been hospitalized. So you could see that his lawyers were in court. What this means is that he was supposed to be in court this evening, but we're again informed that he could. No, the press conference is not. The AG will hold press conference when the need arises. In this particular case, we believe that the issues are already in the public. The new journalists are very much aware of the Sky Train issues. It was first raised in the Auditor General's report, so I don't think anyone is is in a doubt as to the facts of this case. So there may not be any press conference on this. But where there's a new case which will require deliberate, thorough briefing, we believe that the people of this country are entitled to know every bit of what we are doing with the power they have given us. So we'll hold press conference when the need arises.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, so Lord, when next is this case expected to be called?
Right, Alfred, so the case has been adjourned to May 20, by which time they are hoping that Professor Ekumfi would have recovered, and then his plea will be taken.
Appreciate you for this. Laud Adu Asare is a legal affairs correspondent. So, Denis Wedam Pwaberi still with me in the studio. So, clearly, what the Deputy Attorney General, you heard him say in there, one of the major takeaways in that long engagement with the journalists after the court hearing today was that some people have approached the Attorney General to refund some of the monies. And these people are going to be, in fact, they have agreed to be witnesses for the state against some of those who have not yet agreed to the plea bargain. That's striking, is it not?
Yes, and that's consistent by this Attorney General. Attorney General, I use this in the sense of the department, because you recall that when the Attorney General himself spoke, he had indicated how willing he was to cooperate with people who are ready to testify and how he was going to ensure their protection if they're willing to do so. He expressly mentioned that they would, he's willing to engage them or to have deals with them just so they are protected enough to testify in this matter. There's also been issues about whether or not the accused persons can approach the Attorney General to engage in plea bargaining, just to see if they can return some of the things that are alleged to have been taken away or stolen when it's money, so that they will not go into trial. So, I mean, I get the sense that this Attorney General's department is coming with a different orientation altogether. They do not seem to be bent on prosecution and going through a full trial, but as and when they can negotiate and come and meet themselves halfway within the remits of the law, they are quite willing to do that. At least that's the sense I get from the communication from the Attorney General and his deputy in all of that. But Alfred, we were at a point where there was an agreement between GIF and then the company that was supposed to be a partner in this Accra Sky Train development, now having agreed for 10% shares in another company to be transferred to GIF. Now, the Attorney General says that in furtherance to that, the first accused person signed a shareholders agreement on behalf of GIF for that transaction to be done. What that in essence means that GIF was buying shares in another company called AI Sky Train Consortium Limited. It was in furtherance to that some $2 million was paid. And when you read paragraph 6 of the summary of facts as presented by the AG, it indicates that a few weeks later, that's on February 4, 2019, AI Sky Train Consortium Holding, citing the shareholders agreement as a basis, wrote a letter in which it made a request for the payment of a lump sum of $2 million United States dollars as a price for the alleged shares.
I see.
On February 25, 2019, the first accused person and the second accused person, jointly in a letter with reference number, they indicate the number, instructed United Bank for Africa, and that is GIF's bankers, to transfer $2 million United States of American dollars from GIF Project Development Company account to the bank account of Africa Investor Holding Limited in Mauritius. The payment was duly effected, after which nothing was heard or said or done by GIF and its governing board on the alleged share acquisition. Nothing was ever said or heard of the $2 million either. Now, Alfred, I did indicate that we needed to pay attention to what GIF was supposed to do under the project, which was the due diligence. Yes, so when you read paragraph 8, it did indicate that in addition to the due diligence requirement, which was contained in the MOU as the GIF's obligation, GIF's internal investment policy requires GIF to, before embarking on any investment, follow an elaborate procedure for bankable feasibility studies and assurances. These procedures included, but not limited to, a prior GIF internal investment committee assessment, recommendations, and then approval by GIF's board, governing board. Investigations, however, reveal that no such due diligence procedures or processes were followed or engaged by gift proud to partner with the $2 million United States dollars. Further investigations revealed that no board approval was sought or obtained for the share acquisition or the $2 million United States dollars payment. Now they conclude by saying that in his investigation, in his police investigation caution statement, first accused persons, that's the former CEO, claims that he sought or obtained the approval of GIF governing board in respect of the share acquisition and the $2 million dollar payment. This claim was, however, refuted by each of the other members of the governing board in their respective police investigation caution statements. In a sense, Attorney General is saying that they contradicted themselves in their police investigative caution statement. Further investigations reveal that no board minutes or company records support the claim by first accused. On his part, the second accused insisted in his police investigation caution statement that he signed the bank transfer instruction on the recommendation of the first accused person. So first accused person, former CEO, board chair is saying that he signed it on his instructions. Neither the first accused person nor the second accused person have been able to account for the $2 million transfer. Based on these facts, the accused persons are arraigned before this honorable court. So that's the summary of the facts for which these persons have been charged with 6 counts, including willful causing financial loss to the Republic, and there's also the offense of intentional dissipation of public funds. So yes, that's the summary of it as we have it before us now. And matters are going down in court as our court correspondent and legal affairs reporter Laud Adu Asare has rightly indicated. The court has just taken the plea of the first accused person. The second accused person is indisposed. They'll come later to take his plea, and then they take it from there, Alfred.
All right, some good detail in there. Thank you very much. And bringing our listeners and our viewers up to speed with how events have played out over the period, at least for the uninitiated, so you can also follow every step of the way how issues have been over the period till now. But let's still stay a bit further in court, reason being the case of the former Signals Bureau Director Kwabena Adu Boahene has taken a new turn as he was rearrested and is currently in detention at the Economic and Organized Crime Office on a separate charge. The ex-spy chief was rearrested and detained at midnight of May 13, 2025. That's today. On May 2nd, 2025, the court granted Adu Boahene bail at the sum of 80 million Ghana cedis after his lawyers successfully argued for a reduction from the initial 120 million cedis bail condition. Adu Boahene and his wife, Angela Ejay Boateng, alongside a third accused, Mildred Donko, and Advantage Solutions Limited, are facing 11 counts of conspiracy to commit crime, stealing, using public office for profit, money laundering, and causing financial loss to the state. They are alleged to have stolen 49.1 million Ghana cedis from the state coffers. Meanwhile, the Accra High Court has reinstated the bail terms for Adu Boahene following the expiration of his 7-day detention. Here's his lawyer, Samuel Atachian, speaking to the media after the court proceedings earlier today on the detention of his client and what they intend to do going forward. Take a listen to him.
At the last sitting, the judge ordered that he should have his freedom yesterday. And they said they have another matter that they are investigating concerning him. So when he was supposed to have his freedom, by their calculation, they released him midnight and then rearrested him on the basis of the newfound matters they were looking at. But the question is, in the period in which he had the freedom, why didn't they deal with the matter? And they'll leave it till midnight and rearrest him. Is somebody very excited that incarcerating another Ghanaian with all manner of tactics will aid justice? And that is unfortunate.
So is he in the custody of Yoko right now?
He's come back to Yoko, and I'm going there now for me to come to terms with what is the new matter, what's the new issue. You see, because he's been there all this while, and if there were serious matters of consequence, and he's on bail, huge bail, 80 million Ghana cedis bail, is living nowhere. Adu Boahene's name and that of Angela, they are all over the nation, our borders and our airports. They are going nowhere. So I believe that we should come clean that this is not a personal vendetta. This is a man that you believe you have some criminal case against, and give him space to defend himself. And give him also the freedom that now the Supreme Court has decided that there's no case which is not bailable, including murders. Provided always they will exact on you conditions for you to appear before the court to defend yourself. So I do not think we are going to rewrite the criminal jurisprudence of Ghana because of one man.
This fresh arrest, does it include the wife and the third accused person?
I am not sure, who are involved, and I'm going to find out from them what it entails, and I'll be able to address it.
Do you know the matter in which he's been arrested for?
I've been hinted that it relates to secured internet services for the benefit of another state institution, the Ghana Water Company. That national security provided them with gadgets and well-meaning things so that if you are even in your room, you're able to see the pipes, whether they are not being tampered, because national security surmise that water is a national security matter. When your water is polluted, it will affect the entire nation.
So, Council, last week, a leaked letter that Adu Boahene authored was released in the public domain. How does that, from the details of that letter, how does that affect your case?
Well, it was unfortunate that it leaked, because the letter was intended for the National Security Coordinator, in which he was trying to let him know that where he is, national security matters are being raised. And he should come to terms with it. That's what he was trying to do. He was not saying that he's afraid to defend himself, but he's saying that they are pushing him in areas of national security. And when pushed to come to shove, he has to defend himself. And somebody will turn around that. Why is a national security intelligence officer trying to bring into the public domain national security matters when he's sworn an oath? So you swear an oath, the national security will not come to your aid, so you go to jail. That will be unfortunate. It will be a tragedy that cannot be calculated. So that was the intent of the letter. The letter was not supposed to come into the public domain. He wrote to the coordinator, the successor national security coordinator, to look into the matters which, unfortunately, Attorney General and Yoko are pushing. Are they pushing national security matters into the public domain? And if he should respond to those matters, are they not going to turn around?
Well, that's Samuel Atacha there. He's a lawyer for Kwabena Adu Boahene, the battled former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, in there speaking to journalists in court earlier today. Now, if you recall, the Attorney General in the last press conference did hint of this Ghana Water Company Limited contract and what they intend to do in filing separate charges against Kwabena Adu Boahene and on the matter of that particular contract with the Ghana Water Company Limited, which, per the AG's updates, there was really no delivery of the said contract, but some 1.5 million cedis was spent or paid to Kwabena Adu Boahene every month.
The membership of the committee was, changed, and then the monies from the sanitation levy were channeled to my friend, and so on and so forth. I'm not friends with whoever. I have evidence to prove it, and the docket is replete with documentary evidence of the wrongdoing that has been investigated. Having said that, I wish to let it be known that the delay in filing charges came about because our diligent investigation team came across yet another scheme hatched by Ms. Adu Boahene, this time involving Ghana Water Company Limited. This criminal enterprise involved the purported provision of secured internet services to Ghana Water Company Limited by the erstwhile Bureau of National Communications, now National Signals Bureau. The contract document showed that Ghana Water was to pay BNC, that is the national BNC, the sum of 650,000 Ghana cedis every 2 weeks for secured internet services from BNC, that is the Bureau of National Communications. However, for purposes of the payment, Kwabena Adu Boahene provided the account details of his company, BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to Ghana Water, which religiously paid for the internet services. In other words, every 2 weeks when 650,000 Ghana cedis of money from Ghana Water left the bank accounts of Ghana Water, instead of going to the National Signals Bureau account, it went to the account of a company known as Bureau of National Communications, owned by Kwabena Adu Boahene and his wife. Okay? And then they did what they wanted to do with the money. So for every month, Ghana Water paid 1.3 million Ghana cedis to Kwabena Adu Boahene and his company, in exchange for internet services provided by the government. Because remember that the National Signals Bureau is a government agency. Now come to think of it, that the government agency is providing secure internet services to Ghana Water Limited, a limited liability company solely owned by the same government. And Ghana Water is spending money that they do not have, okay, to pay for internet services at that cost, 1.3 million Ghana cedis every month. In fact, the figure rose to 1.5 million Ghana cedis every month at the close of our investigations. Now, you remember that in 2020, Bureau of National Communications became National Signals Bureau. And so, because the contract documents stipulated that the payments be made to Bureau of National Communications, Ghana Water then demanded that the check payments be made to National Signals Bureau because of the change in the corporate identity of BNC. What then happened was that any time the check was made out to National Signals Bureau and it landed in the accounts of National Signals Bureau, Kwabena Adu Boahene, as director of National Signals Bureau, would then immediately write a check to himself and transfer the money. From our investigations, you can see the movement of the money. Immediately it comes from Ghana Water, he signs a check and transfers the money into the, his personal company account. Now, today something happened in court. Counsel for the defense told the judge that whatever I had said was a figment of my own imagination. But of course, he is entitled to earn his fee. So he can say that.
That's Dr. Dominic Ayine. He's Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Republic of Ghana. And you're so live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on